FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
I think the three things that Americans don't understand about the war right now are, number one, how hard the last couple of years were. The spring of '07 was not just, let's put a few thousand more troops out there. That was 6 months of very tough fighting. I think much harder than '04 when we had 1st and 2nd Fallujah. There's one outpost I read about in the book, Tarmiya, had 38 soldiers in it, in this little outpost, because the whole principle was not, let's throw in more troops, it was, let's protect the population. How do you do that? You have to move among the people. To do that, you needed more troops. So that's how they arrived at the notion of more troops. In Tarmiya, there were 38 troops. This is north of Baghdad, about 20 miles, little ugly town of the Tigris. They were car bombed one morning with a bomb so large that soldiers 7 miles away heard it. Then they were hit by rocket-propelled grenades, mortar fire, and heavy machine gun fire. At the end of the day, 2 soldiers were dead, 29 were wounded, but they held the post. It was like an American version of the movie Zulu. That's the first thing I think Americans understand, just how hard it has been the last couple of years. A lot of people involved in this for the last couple of years were dissidents inside the military who had opposed the invasion. Ambassador Crocker reveals in my book that he actually was against the original invasion of Iraq. General Petraeus took command there, having just finished overseeing a counterinsurgency manual that amounted to a scathing critique of how the war had been handled for 5 years. A lot of these people thought, this is a tragic mistake, but let's try to do the best we can. And they began with a lot of humility. The American way is not the only way. How can we do this differently? I think the second thing people don't understand is the surge failed. It succeeded tactically to improve security, but the purpose as laid out by the president at the time and the Secretary of Defense was to improve security in such a way as to create a breathing space in which a political breakthrough would occur. Here we are, with the surge over, troop numbers coming down, and none of the basic questions that vexed Iraq before the surge have been solved. How do you share oil revenue? What's the relationship between Sunni, Shia, and Kurd? What's the disposition of the city of Kirkuk? What is the role of Iran? Very influential in Iraq right now, probably the biggest single winner of any country in the region. And fundamentally, what is the shape of Iraqi government to be? Will it be a strong central government in Baghdad? Will it be a loose confederation? All of these questions have provoked violence in the past. All of them are likely to lead to violence in the future before they're resolved. And I think the third thing people don't understand is how stuck we are. I think President Obama is only slowly coming to grasp just how screwed he is. He has inherited the worst foreign policy lineup I think any new president has ever taken on. And the scary thing about it is it isn't even his worst problem. That's just, it's an extraordinary problem set to take on. Now, I think he's quite capable. I think he does think strategically. But I think his Camp Lejeune speech about 10 days ago was more about staying in Iraq than getting out. He quietly and really eloquently threw overboard a campaign promise and laid out a plan to keep 35,000 to 50,000 troops there for several years until the end of 2011. And he said it's going to be a non-combat mission. Well, newsflash here, you can hang up a mission accomplished banner, you can call it a non-combat mission. As far as I'm concerned, as long as American troops are dying, it's a war. I was over at the White House actually the day of the president's speech, and I said to a military official, are American troops still going to be dying after August 2010, when it's officially a non-combat mission? He said, yes, they will.
Yeah.